So after finally raising Nahida's E and her burst to level 8, and also double crowning Nilou, I can finally make a video on how you should be building Nahida and also Nilou, and also just give a basic rundown on how you should be building their teams. I'm going to be showing a Bloom team for Nilou in this video, and as for Nahida, I'm going to include a Super Bloom team in which Nahida is going to be paired up with Raiden and also maybe Yelan, and hopefully we're going to be seeing some big Hyperbloom damage numbers. I have already covered Nilou's build, and so if you want to know more about it, please check out my Nilou's guide video. For Nahida, in general, you should be aiming for at least 800 EM regardless of the playstyle, as that would enable you to gain the most out of her passive talent when her burst is deployed. For her weapons, currently I'm running the Sacrificial Fragments, as it gives quite the amount of EM even though it is a 4-star weapon. I'll talk about her 5-star weapon options later, and so let's dive into her 4-star options first. I'd say the only weapon options that you should go for are the Sacrificial Fragments, the Witsif, the Mappa Mare, and also the New Wandering Even Star. All of them have EM as their substats, and the Witsif is especially strong, especially if you have full refinements for a DPS Nahida. The Mappa Mare is a free-to-play friendly weapon, as it is a craftable one, and it can still perform quite well compared to other options out there, which is why personally I think you don't really need to pull for her signature weapon. But of course, her signature weapon is going to be her best in slot, and I think the Kagura Rarity is the only other 5-star weapon option that you should use for Nahida, simply because Nahida doesn't really benefit that much from the other 5-star catalysts. As for artifacts, I'd say the Deepwood Memory set is the best for her, but it still depends. I have watched videos in which they say that the Gilded Dream set might be better for Nahida, especially for a DPS Nahida because of the attack percent that you get. But generally speaking, the Dendro Resistance shred that you get from the 4-piece effect of the Deepwood's Memory set is probably the best for Nahida because of how, let's say if you're playing in a Nilou team, you would want to maximize the damage of the Bountiful Cores, and the explosions are treated as Dendro damage, and so this set will benefit the team the most. Plus, Nahida's Trikarma Purification is also counted as Dendro damage, and so 30% Dendro Resistance shred is quite nice for Nahida in short. As for her constellation, I'm not encouraging people out there to well for her, but I do really think that her C2 is quite nice. When enemies are affected by Quicken, Aggravate or Spread, for 8 seconds the defense will be decreased by 30%, and this defense decrease means that all incoming attacks will get a slight buff in damage, and the first buff of this constellation means that all Dendro related reactions besides Quicken, Aggravate and Spread will be able to crit, and they will gain 20% crit rate and 100% crit damage respectively. So it's quite nice, but I wouldn't say it's necessary. As for C1, the buff that you get when Nahida's Q is deployed is sort of buffed by 1. If that makes sense, let's go to the talent section. As you can see here in the skill attributes section, for every Pyro, Electro and Hydro character on your team, you gain a certain specific buff. As you can see here for the Power buff, the damage of the Trikarma Purification is buffed by 23.8%. As you can see here, for Pyro, one character gives you 23.8% damage increase to the Trikarma Purification damage, and it increases to 35.7% when there's 2. So basically, what her C1 means is that you don't really need to have one Pyro character to get that buff. I'm using Pyro as an example, but that can also apply to Electro or Hydro characters as well. Just like her C2, this constellation is not necessary, but it's just a nice constellation because it allows for more flexible teams, and you don't really have to include Hydro characters, for example, if you don't want to have a Hydro character in your team, but you would still be able to get the respective buff. As for her talent level priorities, her E is the most important, regardless of the playstyle that you want to play your Nahida with, and it should be followed by either the normal attack or her burst. For support Nahida, you would want to raise her Q up before raising her normal attack, but for DPS Nahida, this will be the opposite. But before I show any damage numbers, I'm going to have to craft all my resin into condensed resin, so that it takes less time for me to clear the domains. I think for Nilou, in order to showcase how strong her Bountiful Cores are, I think the domain where you get the Deepwood Memory set and also the Gilded Dream set should be a good enough domain to show off how her Bountiful Cores can deal damage to a lot of enemies at the same time. And also, now that we've got Nahida in our team, I think Dendro application should no longer be a problem, and maybe I'll be able to run one less Dendro character and just have Nahida as the sole Dendro character in the team. So I'm thinking of using a team like this. I guess I would want to have Nahida as the on-field driver to proc Bountiful Cores from Nilou after using her E 3 times. And if I have got enough energy, because I haven't tried this team out yet, Technically, I should be able to get enough energy for Yelan to use her burst so that whenever Nahida normal attacks, there is still going to be Hydro application besides Nilou's ring thing. To be fair, I think putting Kokomi's jellyfish down, having Yelan's Q, that should be enough Hydro application. So I guess what you would want to do in a team like this is, first of all, mark the 3 enemies with Nahida's E, and then maybe switch to Nilou, press her E 3 times. Hopefully I don't die in the process. And let's get some energy with Yelan. Oh, never mind, we've got her burst ready. Use her burst and... well, I guess the enemies aren't strong enough and they're all dead already. Oh well. We'll go to a different domain and maybe we'll get some better results there. I guess it is sort of expected that our team would just completely obliterate the enemies in this domain. Let's think of bosses that we can fight with this team. I guess the algorithm boss in the desert is good enough, but I would like to save fighting this boss for Nahida's Hyperbloom team later on in the video. That would lead us to, I guess, the Jade Plume boss? I'm not sure. Let's find out. I guess the good thing about fighting that domain is that all my characters now have full energy and that I can use all of their bursts. So, same thing, 3 E's from Nilou, and then Nahida Q, I'm not sure. And then Yelan Q as well. Maybe put down Kokomi's jellyfish and then normal attack with Nahida to try and get as much blooms, bounceful cores I mean, in the field as possible. But as you can see, the boss is dying very quickly. We might have to, yeah, I think we'll have to do another boss to showcase this team. The thing is, there's not really any bosses in the overworld that has enough HP. Not really though. I guess you can say that the Magu Kenki has a lot of HP, as in how he can go invincible. The Magu Kenki will probably teleport around and it will probably be hard for him to stay at where the bounceful cores are. Actually, I've got an idea. We can probably do the Drake boss because of how it sort of doesn't really move around that much. I mean, it still floats above ground, but hopefully the explosion radius of the bounceful cores will be enough to hit him. Otherwise, this showcase will just be a complete mess. I guess one good thing of having fought in that domain just now is that now all my party members have their bursts back. And so I guess we'll start the cycle all again. So first of all, I'll use E with Nahida, and then 3 times E on Nilou, and then go to Q on Yelan, I guess, to get her burst. And then place the jellyfish down. Use Nahida's burst so that I can get extra elemental mastery. And I think that should be the setup that I should be aiming for next time when I use a team like this. But still, the situation is still the same. Even though this is a boss, it still died quite quickly. I think I do need to swap out maybe Yelan or Omi to reduce the... well, technically I don't have to reduce the Hydro application. It might just be Yelan doing damage with her burst, but I don't know. I do feel like there is a need for me to switch up the teams though. And I think this is the reason behind why enemies were dying so quickly. This passive talent of Yelan gives quite a substantial damage increase to the on-field character. So when Nahida is normal attacking, the damage of her Trikarma Purification is also increased. But I'm still not sure. I mean, I'll still try Xingqiu out. If the enemies keep on dying within 1 rotation or so, then it might just be this team being strong. I'm also thinking of farming for more emblem pieces, so I guess we can try this domain out. So I guess I'll test it out with this team first. Nahida's E, Xingqiu's Q, Nilou's 3 E's. I guess I'll use her burst, and then Komi's this, and then Nahida. First 5k, not sure where that's from. 24k bloom damage. That's alright, I guess. So the enemies didn't die as quick this time around, but I guess we would still have to test this team out on other domains and also on other bosses. Let's see. Come on, give me something good. That's horrible. And that is also horrible. What about the talent domain in Inazuma? Because I'm also trying to level up Warin Shogun's E and finally double crown her. So I guess we'll also try and run this domain once. And hopefully the enemies won't die in this domain as quick as well. I'm not sure. Should I try Yelan out again? But I do still think that it might be a little bit too much damage though. Especially how Yelan's Q really does buff Nahida's normal attack damage. I don't know the exact damage numbers because I wasn't paying attention, but on the screen right now you should see the damage comparison. I don't know, maybe Xingqiu is actually a better character in this case. But to be honest, in Abyss you would be maximizing your damage potential. I don't know, I'm just doing this so that enemies can stay alive for a bit longer so that I can get a better understanding of how this team should perform in Abyss before actually trying Abyss out. Oh, there are quite a lot more enemies in this domain. There's 2 of those samurai people. Hopefully they won't one-shot my Nilou. I mean, I should have enough HP to withstand their attacks, but I'll get some energy back. I don't know why I need it, to be honest. Use the burst, I guess. And they're all dead. Yeah, I think I really need to maybe remove one of the Hydra characters, but to be honest, for a showcase like this, as in doing it in domains, this sort of damage is sort of expected. So we'll just clear up the remaining enemies and move on to Abyss, I guess. But before that, we'll still need to get our talent books. Please, 2 purples? 3 purples, maybe? Aw, not even 1 purple. Come on. Yeah, I think I should be putting the Nilou team in floor 1 because of how there's just more enemies. It wouldn't be a Nilou showcase if I can't really demonstrate the AoE radius of her bountiful cores. There has to be just more than, well, I guess in this case, more than 1 enemy. I guess I would want the energy recharge bonus for this floor. I guess in this case I would want to use Nahida's Q. Not that it has any significant bonus towards the damage of the bountiful cores, but let's start. And then the last Q. And then we're going to Nahida, normal attacking. And they're dying already from just normal attacks. We'll use her E again to mark all enemies, link them up, and then use Nilou's Q. Let's see. Yep, as expected, they're all dead already. Let's just try normal attacking. Now that we've got bigger enemies, they should stay alive for longer. Let's just get some particles. Place Kokomi's E down. Use Yolan's burst. Whoa. I was about to say go back to Nahida and normal attack, but I guess they're all dead. And for the final chamber of floor 11, I'm thinking of going for the crit bonus as well. Let's see. So link them all up. I'm starting to get the rotation remembered. We ease. I guess we can throw a Q in there. And they're all dead. Oh, there's actually quite a lot of enemies now. Nahida, normal attack. Guess we can do this. And then the last one. Oh well. Link them all up. And then the Lan, I guess. That's quite a lot of damage already. And then I guess I'll use the Q. And then use Nahida. All of them just died, to be honest. We use the Q of Nahida, because why not? And then Yolan. And then Nilou's E's. And then Nahida again. Alright, there's still 1 more samurai left and he's gonna kill himself, so let's hope we can get some damage numbers. To be honest, my Nahida is quite weak. Let's actually use the burst of Kokomi to just heal her up a bit more. Just so that she doesn't die in the next chamber. And I think for floor 12 chamber 2, the elemental mastery bonus should be good for both teams, as I've got Raiden National on the other team. Let's see. I'm starting to believe that the Abyss isn't really that hard now that I've got Nahida and Nilou paired up. But let's hope I won't regret the words that I just said. So we'll use the burst, because why not? And then put Kokomi down. And then do this. And then Q, because why not? And then just start normal attacking. They are dying quite quickly, so that's good to see. Last one. And because of how many times I fought in chamber 3 of floor 12 already, I am pretty sure that all enemies are going to die within 1 minute. But still, let's do this for Lan. And then Nilou. Place Kokomi's E down, and then just start normal attacking. I don't even need Yolan's Q. They're still gonna die in less than 10 seconds was that? Wait, no. 10 seconds seems like an exaggeration. Less than 20 seconds, I mean. And of course, we're going to be 36-starring the Abyss. As for Nahida's part of the video, I'm thinking of using this team and also this team for the damage showcases. For the first team, it mainly revolves around Yae Miko proccing Hyperbloom reactions, and with the Dendro Traveler C6 providing some electro damage bonus to Yae Miko because of how it works. For the second team, it's basically a modified version of Raiden National, where Nahida is replacing Bennett, and you can also be proccing Hyperblooms and also Burgeon reactions with Xiangling's Q and also Raiden's E. I'm not sure how this team will compare to the traditional Raiden National comp, as I still believe Bennett's Q will probably provide more of a damage increase to the whole team, instead of Nahida only providing 250 EM to all party members when she is on the field. Let's start with Masanori then, I guess. For rotation, I think what I should do is first use Nahida's E as usual, then make sure that the Hydra application is always on field, and then just set everything up for Yae Miko to proc her Hyperblooms. And let's see the damage numbers. 13k I saw, and then 1k, don't know why it's so low. 25k, I think that was Nahida's Tri-Combo Purification damage. And then we'll just start again. So in this team comp, as you can see, it's all about... Oh, Yae Miko died. That's not a good sign. In a team like this, as long as your Yae Miko's totems are on the field, along with all the supports Qs, most importantly Sing Qs, you should be able to constantly proc Hyperbloom. And also the damage for Nahida's Tri-Combo Purification should also be high enough. In this case, my Yae Miko doesn't really have that much EM. She's at currently 400 because of the Dendro Resonance and also Nahida's Q. But in an ideal situation, Yae Miko should have a tiny bit more EM to ensure that the damage is higher in terms of Hyperbloom damage. And also maybe, I'm not sure how the Dendro Traveler's passive talents work, but I'm sure that there's one that buffs the EM of the team members, right? Never mind, it doesn't buff the elemental mastery of other party members, but instead, for every point of EM that the Dendro Traveler has, the damage of her E and Q are increased. As for this modified version of Raiden National, I am hoping to see big damage numbers, especially with how Nahida's E basically provides endless Dendro application, so that Raiden Shogun should be able to proc aggravate with every single hit of her burst. So let's see. Now that everything's set up, let's see if we get some big damage numbers. For some reason it was not really a lot of damage, and Raiden Shogun is dead. Let's try again now that Raiden is revived. So we'll set it up again like before. But this time I guess I'll just get straight into it. So after pressing her E, I should be able to just get some big damage numbers. What was that? I didn't see it clearly, but that seemed like quite a lot of damage. And there's actually quite a lot of things that was going on just now, and I couldn't really see the damage numbers. But I guess that was still a decent enough showcase to demonstrate how basically once you've thrown everything down on the field, Raiden Shogun should be able to use her burst and proc all sorts of reactions, while Nahida's E is constantly proccing Dendro application for Xiangling and also Yelan's Q to further proc Hyperbloom and also Burgeon. So I guess we'll move on to Abyss now. I'm not going to do floor 11 again because I think the video is going to drag on for a bit too long. So we're going to do floor 12 for both teams, I guess, once. So I guess in Abyss it'd be easier to demonstrate how the Hyperblooms and Burgeons deal a lot of damage. So we'll set everything up. Oh, apparently I've used her E already. And Q, hopefully we'll see some big damage numbers. 64k, that's decent I guess. That's without Bennett's burst. Of course this isn't the traditional Raiden National team. I guess the spotlight of this team is that even though your Raiden Shogun might not have her burst, Nahida will still be able to fit in that lack of DPS because of her Tri-Combo Purifications. So as you can see right now, using Raiden Shogun's Q, that should be quite a lot of damage. And also all sorts of reactions are being procced. My Raiden Shogun's about to die, so let's be careful. So we'll set everything up. Use Nahida's Q, and then hopefully we can get one big last damage number. And Raiden is dead. That isn't good. I'm gonna have to choose the third bonus because of how my characters are all about to die. Hopefully none of them die though, it'll be quite a shame. Let's just use this, and then should be enough. And then put Xiangling stuff down. We're gonna have to use Riding Shogun's first, so that she doesn't die, although we don't have Xiangling's Q though, that's quite a shame. Now that we have it, it's a little bit too late. Everyone's kind of, well, stunned. And, okay, so we've got everything down. We finally have a proper setup. And let's use her first. Let's see some big numbers now. 65k still. That's still quite a shame, I guess. Now that we've picked up Xiangling's pepper thing, chili, should be able to do a tiny bit more damage. Oh well. I have a feeling that this team may actually outperform the modified version of the Raiden National comp because of how there's just so many enemies here. And I'm getting a little bit of ping issue, but that shouldn't be a problem. Now that the Cavalier's burst is down, I should be able to just normal attack and use Yae Miko's burst and just kill all these enemies in a few hits. Like that. And now the samurais are here, that's when the problems might start to arrive. Let's refresh Nahida's burst and then use Xingqiu's Q. Everything is sort of set up, I guess. And then Yae Miko should be able to use her burst in a second now. And then let's have a look at the damage numbers. I saw a few 25ks and 27ks there, but still not enough to kill the samurais. They just have quite a lot of HP, so that's why. Now that Nahida's Q is used again, we can do this, and then do this, and then set it up again. I think this should kill them all now. Yep. And I think I saw 10k to 20k damage there. Not sure. There's only going to be 4 fish apps in this chamber of 412, so I think it should be an easy feat for us. Let's see. As long as this is placed down, we should get 12% damage bonus, elemental damage bonus I mean. And this Q should probably Q at least one of them. Never mind, they're tankier than I think they are. Yae Miko, you're gonna have to survive. If you die, it's gonna be the end of this. Please. What? Why are none of them dying? Alright, some of them are dying now. Oh, Yae Miko, you might die here. We need to get out of the corner. Get Xingqiu's Q back. And then start normal attacking. And actually mark them up again. I always forget about that. I always think that Nahida's E has like a unlimited duration, but that's clearly not the case. And he should be dead. As you can see, Nilou performs even better than before with the arrival of Nahida, and it can definitely be said that if you have Nilou on your account, then Nahida is a must pull. Personally, I believe that Nahida has lived up to the hype before her release, as she is simply such a versatile character. Ignoring the teams that I've showed today, there is still so much teams out there for Nahida, and you should definitely try different Nahida team comps out and see which one fits your playstyle the most. Anyway, that is it for today's video. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed, as it really helps me out, and see you in the next one. Bye!